evening. We'll convene meeting, and could we all rise for a pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will move into public comments. Before I do that, welcome, Mr. Tatson.
Thank you.
Glad you're here with us. See, I knew you couldn't stay away. I just knew you couldn't stay away. I knew you could. I don't care. Welcome. Yeah, we miss you. Public comments. Members of the public are invited to address the authority regarding any item that's not on the agenda. Please complete one of the speaker cards in advance, and we do have a speaker card, and it's Mr. Brussels.
Good evening, Mayor Bob and board members. I am Bruce Olson. I live in Pittsburgh. I'm representing Bike East Bay tonight, and I have to admit I rode BART here tonight. I did not ride my bicycle in the rain. I am such a lightweight. My comments tonight will be short. Happy New Year, and thank you for doing what you can on a policy level to provide infrastructure for all modes of transportation.
Wow. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy thoughts.
I'm sure you'll talk to us at different times through the year. Yeah. Anyway, thank you, Bruce, for that. Is there anyone else from the public wishing to address? All right. Approval of minutes?
Move approval.
Second.
First. Did you get it? It was very fast. Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Consent calendar.
Second, I have a question on one item.
All right.
Just
First and a second and a question.
Yeah, just a first. I don't know who can answer this. Since we didn't meet APC, and there are some things on this consent calendar that are things that we ought to probably be talking about that we normally would. One of them, I think, interests all of us is on, and it's almost a 90-page document for the update on our quarterly update. And the one item I always see on there is where are we at in Caldecott Tunnel? It's 5.5 years, and it looks like we are still getting a request from Caltrans to extend their contracts so they can do the final accounting. So we have to pay them to do, no criticism of us. What is it going to take to get Caltrans off this job for a project that was finished 5.5 years ago? Christmas is over.
New Year's has begun.
And I apologize. This is worth asking. I hope what does it take?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, board members. Thank you. That's a great question. We have the Caldecott in the quarterly project status reports because the plant establishment period is still underway. It should end in February, and we also are finishing the settlement projects with Oakland and Berkeley. That's the reason it's there, but having said that, we did get a request from Caltrans to extend the co-op because it did expire on December 31st, 2017, and we are resisting renewing it because we want to close this project.
Good, thank you, because I figured if it expired, we can just say, hey, thanks, nice job. All right. My apologies for pulling this, but thank you for that.
The question I'm going to ask is, when are we going to come back with this on the agenda? When it's finally done to satisfy Newell here?
Can we throw a party?
Yes.
I think we have hats.
If things,
Okay.
if things go as planned, you will not see this on the agenda because we're not going to be renewing that. As far as I know, we have not agreed to renewing their co-op agreement. So as far as I know that the only thing that's keeping this project in the quarterly status reports is the plant establishment period, which ends in February of this year. Thank you.
All
Mr.
right.
Chair, can I follow up with that?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. I want to make sure I clearly understand. It's hopefully going to be wrapped up next month. But if it's not, we wouldn't see this again for another year? Let's just, the worst case scenario. So my point would more likely be maybe around April or May in the executive director's report or something that this was finalized.
So hopefully this is the last quarter. I should have been clearer, sorry. This is the last quarterly status reports where you would see the Caldecott.
Thank you.
All right. I didn't ask for the vote yet, have I?
No.
Okay, then we need to call for the vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, we'll move on to, where am I at?
4.1. New item, authorization to execute agreement.
New item, looking
Keep
for it.
going, you keep going.
Okay, here we go.
You're right here.
Here we go. Here we go, new items. 4.1, new item, authorization to execute supplement 514 with Prime Government Solutions, LLC Prime Government to support audio live streaming, real-time management minutes automation, and automated agenda workflow. That's you, Terry Ann.
Good evening, Authority Board Chair and Commissioners. Tonight I bring an item to you to seek authorization to execute an agreement with PrimeGov. PrimeGov will essentially replace the services that were currently being provided by Granicus, which is audio live streaming and real-time meeting management. And in an effort to improve our efficiency with our review process on the agenda packet and to basically take advantage of the latest technologies and streamline the process, we decided to start looking into a replacement. And in addition to that, we wanted to add the automated agenda workflow system, which would automate the whole process. And so we went out and reviewed quotes and saw demonstrations from 4 different companies, including Granicus, and decided that PrimeGov was the best option for the authority. It's cost-effective, it can accommodate our agenda formatting, and they offer great customer service, and they have numerous other modules that we can get as part of the package, including records management and committee management. And so because of the great benefits, like I said, of efficiency, staff time savings, improved transparency, version control, and decreased paper cost, we're asking that you approve this agreement to move forward with the purchase of this automated agenda workflow system, and over the next 3 years, it will be a cost savings of $58,685, and it will be for a 3-year term in the amount of $26,995. So that's my presentation. If you have any questions, I'll open it up for that.
Move acceptance. Second.
Have a first or second, is there any discussion?
I just want to congratulate you on going out for this. Our Board of Supervisors does an automated board, and until we put it in, even though it's a large organization, you're really going to enjoy the benefits. And this comes out to just a little less than $9,000 a year. And you said we're going to save $56,000 over 3 years?
Almost $59,000.
Wow.
Yeah, we currently pay $18,000 a year, and that's without an automated agenda workflow system. So if we were to add that, it's another $10,200 with Granicus. So you're talking $28,000 per
I
year.
think the county needs to look. We use Granicus. Maybe we need to check that out. But anyway,
Yeah, we'll have to. We can let you know how this
I'll
goes
have
once we
staff
implement it.
Candace and I'll have staff contact.
Well,
Excellent work.
Okay.
I was just going to add, Terry, and you're always the leader. Most of us have followed the things since you've been around here. We've switched to Granicus. We're probably going to switch to this now, just like the county. So thank you for being out there. And I know you're part of a group, and you guys are always looking for great stuff. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Before I call for the vote, is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Okay, we call for the vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Done.
Thank you.
Thank you. 4.2, approve changes to authorized positions and amended authority salaries, benefits, and compensation plan for July 1, 2018 through June 30th, 2021.
Good evening again. Tonight, we bring forward the findings and recommendations from the project's classification study. In June, the board approved an additional classification study specific to the positions and classifications within the projects department. because the positions have evolved with transportation technology, ITS, and the latest technologies in construction management. Since then, we've been working on the study. We worked with the Salary and Benefits Ad Hoc Committee over the last few months. And these discussions also included our HR consultant, Deborah Muchmore, who's here with me today from RGS, and she's going to present the findings and recommendations from the study. They gathered the data, conducted the interviews, and prepared a market study for consideration by the Salary and Benefits Committee, which we are bringing to you tonight, and she'll go ahead and discuss those findings now.
Hello, thank you. Hello.
Cut your mic on.
Thank you for having me back again.
And as she's getting ready, the members of the committee are Mayor Taylor, Councilmember Romick, myself, and I think there was, Mayor Butt, but you were viewed it ahead of time, so I just wanted you to know who the committee members were.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Everybody ready? All right, so it's a beautiful evening tonight. It was a great drive down from Sonoma County. We do need the water. We need the water. So I just wanted to go over some best practices that we followed in the study, and basically we want to make sure that each position has a classification specification and that it clearly describes the duties, responsibilities, and authority and autonomy of those positions, that each class is associated with a salary range, that they're competitive with similar positions in the labor marketplace, and that the salary range positions the authority as an employer of choice. We also want to make sure that internally the salaries have parity and with other classifications and other levels. So we try to keep healthy differentials for those classifications, 10 to 15% between entry journey, 15 to 25 between line and supervisory. So the salary schedule, part of what the staff is recommending you approve tonight, establishes positions, salary ranges by classification. So what we did through the study was we initially looked at organizational structure and classes by position in 17 regional transportation agencies. We looked at their job descriptions, their organizational structure, their programming and projects, services that they offered, and we did find some similarities between them, and we also found the fact that the authority is a small agency, but it has a huge project delivery budget. I'm going to show you that in the next slide. And there was a small bit of role confusion that we'll talk about also. The authority has a budget of $243.9 million. $135.8 million of that is administered by the projects division. That amount, when you go to the state controller's website and you look at all of the transportation planning agencies that report budget up there, is twice the budget of 85% of agencies across the state and twice the budget of 50% of the 17 agencies we looked at in the study. So it's a pretty awesome amount that this organization wields and administers through the projects department. The majority of agencies have an executive director, deputy executive director, director, and then staff below, sometimes manager, sometimes whatever type of structure. The authority has a slight role confusion because directors report not only in blue to the executive director, but also in orange to deputy executive directors. So that's something we recommended to the authority that over time they clean up across the organization, but we also looked at cleaning that up within the projects department. We reviewed deputy executive director for projects, the director of projects, the engineering managers, senior engineer, and associate engineer classifications for the study. We made several recommendations. One of them was that most of the classifications are appropriately, or half of them are appropriately classified, but we found director of projects and 2 engineering manager positions that were working at higher levels than their current classification and their current expectations. So we made recommendations to reclassify those to a level of position that was more appropriate for the duties they were doing. And what we did was we made them all director positions so that we could create one salary range that banded directors together. We also then set the rest of the salaries in the projects department in alignment for parity. So the current structure of the projects department right now looks a little bit like this. And so it has a deputy director, director of projects, there's engineering managers, and then there are associate and senior engineers below that. We're recommending kind of aligning that structure so that the positions that are working at the director level are aligned, and then the other positions fall underneath, and those dotted lines reflect consultants that are being managed underneath that. This does not change any of the full-time positions in the authority. The full-time positions remain at 20, which they are today. I'm going to turn it back over to Terry Ann.
This report serves as the board's report summarizing the final action on salary schedules and/or compensation paid in the form of fringe benefits pursuant to the Brown Act. The SBC and staff recommend that the board approve the Resolution 1822A with Revision 1, which will change the positions and amend the authority salaries, benefits, and compensation plan for July 1st, 2018 through June 30th, 2021, and these amendments will take effect on July 1st, 2018, and that will keep it consistent with the current plan that was approved in June.
And you're going to talk some more?
Would you like me to talk some more? We were going to open it up to discussion.
Mr. Taylor?
My husband will tell you if you do that, that's really dangerous.
Mr. Taylor, I would move the motion.
Second.
First and a second. First and a second. There we go. I have a first and a second, and before I know there might be some questions here, but I wanted to let the board know that we really went through this very thoroughly. We discussed it. We had a couple of meetings, and we came out of the work group, and I'm sure someone can back me up on this, very Go ahead. Karen, you want to say something? Go ahead.
She's serenading us.
And Karen, why don't you say something since you have the attention there? Yeah, okay, yeah. All right.
I was just going to just say thank you to you guys for doing it. I think this is obviously something as a agency of choice in every way. I appreciate all the work you guys did. I think these are fair within markets, and I know we'll all support this. Thanks.
Oh, great comments. Any other comments from the board? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, as the new kid on the block, what was the genesis of this review? Was it that the sense that the agency was sort of outgrowing its structure, or?
It's a periodic review.
Okay, thank you.
We do it every 3 years.
Every 3 years? Okay, thank you.
And to be very honest with you also, we wanted to make sure we're on the right parallel, in other words, as other agencies, so we're not falling behind. Wow, okay, call for the vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Well, moving right along.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you
Thank
again
you.
for the job you did. Correspondence and communications. I think there's a letter in here dated December 31. Associated committee reports should be here in your packets. What do we got here? Are we getting out of here?
Commissioner and staff
Oh,
comments.
that's right, commissioner and staff comments. Yep, I'm missing it here. 7.0. There it is. Commissioner and staff comments? You have something to say.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chairman and board members. Martin Engelman, just acting tonight for Randy, who's on the East Coast. A couple of announcements. First, we're very proud to announce that we have a new staff person just brought on board. James Hinkamp is our new Associate Transportation Planner, and he comes to us from the city of Lafayette. We apologize to Don for stealing him, but we're very happy to have him here. And then secondly, I'd like to announce that we're having a board retreat a couple of weeks from tomorrow on Thursday, January 31st, and it will be in Suite 150, which is actually down the hall around the corner. We're going to convene at about 8 o'clock. and it's going to go all day long. So, but the good news is 8 to 8:30 is breakfast. So, and that'll be an opportunity for us to talk about the board's vision, goals, and mission statement. Last time we developed those, it's been about 10 years. So it's time to go back, and given everything that's changed in the world, time to go back and look at those and make sure that the organization is pointed in the right direction for the future. And that'll be the purpose of the workshop.
Tom, you wanted to say something?
For those of you who didn't make it, we launched the Richmond Ferry last Thursday, and it was a roaring success. Those of us who were on the first trip, we had 161 people.
Wow.
And a lot of them were real commuters. They weren't just celebrants like I was. And then later on that morning, we had, right after lunch, we had we had all the formal things and the speeches and so forth. There were over 1,000 people there. And so far, I think everybody is amazed at how popular it is. We hope that continues to hold up. The only complaint I've gotten is that the parking lot's full.
Welcome to everybody else's problems.
We're used to that problem on every.
So everybody who had a hand in that one way or another, thank you. Your work has paid off.
Well, since this is my last regular meeting, I did just want to say thank you. I started serving intermittently on this agency in the last century. And I am now, and so since then, I've been honored to participate in this agency and see what we have accomplished, and truthfully to learn so much from my fellow board members and from staff. I think you all know what the accomplishments are, so I won't go over all the projects and programs in detail, but we've earned the trust of our voters on 2 sales tax measures. We are viewed as the transportation planning and project implementation agency in this county and one of the best in the state. We adhere to our motto of under-promising and over-delivering. We've consistently had a congenial board, and that recognizes that no single solution works for any part of the county, and that's guided all the sales tax measures. And through the RTPCs, we're leaders in the state in terms of getting new development to pay its way. That doesn't happen everywhere. We're also statewide leaders in growth management. I'll tell you a little story. Along with federal and Candace, I sat on the local area formation commission, and I was asked to give a presentation at our annual statewide convention in the fall about agricultural and open space preservation policies. And I was the final speaker, and all the other counties that presented talked about all these complicated methods that they have to try to preserve ag space and the lawsuits that they would occasionally get into. And I basically said, under our transportation authority, our voters approved an urban limit line. And if you expand beyond the urban limit line, you lose substantial money. So nobody applies anymore. And that was, we have an ag and open space policy, but the real answer is this agency created the ag and open space policy with the support of the voters. So I just want to leave with a big thank you for what all of you do for our county staff and commissioners included, and for helping me become a better board member, and just a big thank you. I am going to attend the retreat, but this will be my formal goodbye. So thank you.
Mr. Chair, I just think we need to thank Mr. Tatson. I've only been on this body for about 6 years, maybe 7. I guess it's 8 now. Oh my gosh. Anyway, he seems to have been at the forefront of everything, and he's always our go-to person. And when we were considering Measure X, even though you weren't currently serving on the board, we all agreed we wanted him to be the chair, and I think he did an outstanding job. And I just want the record to reflect that as much as you are thanking us, Don, we owe you, all of us in Contra Costa County, an enormous debt because of your ability to manage groups of people, and thank you for saying that we're collegial, because we are, but managing all that, I think it's very important to recognize what you've brought to the agency.
And I think we all follow through with that one. To me, I called you Mr. Wisdom, because I would never have ever, when I first got on this board, I didn't know what you were talking about. But I knew you did. So for me, I took all the credit. When I went back to Brentwood, we did this or that, but I didn't say under my breath, thank God for Mr. Tatson. But I mean that very sincerely. Yes, ma'am, Ms. Deborah.
Oh, thank you. Just a quick update of things from BART. We had a board reorganization at our last meeting. Bevan Dufty is now our board president, along with Rebecca Saltzman is our new board vice president. I am now your ex officio member for this board, with Mark Foley serving as the alternate. We had a lot of reorganization of committees, and won't go through that. There were only a couple of quick items on that board meeting: the decommissioning of the old BART cars as we replace them with the new ones. Lots of interesting and colorful ideas with what to do with old BART cars. And then some other miscellaneous TOD things. It was a very light meeting. We did have a quarterly report, and the most significant thing is that ridership is almost flat, just slightly still down over the previous quarter of last year. We've continued to see drops in ridership, but the drop has slowed, so that's the best good news I have. And net passenger revenue actually is flat, and the reason is because the drop in the ridership trips is really in the short trips and not the long trips, so the revenue isn't changed. January 24th and 25th is our board workshop. That is a full day on the 24th and I think about a half of a day on the 25th, and it's going to be located in San Francisco. The general public is welcome to attend that, and we usually do have a pretty large group of people who are interested in our annual board workshop, where we talk about what's to come for the next year at BART. So I'm honored to be here, and I look forward to working with all of you. Thanks.
Just a point of clarity, Chair, where in San Francisco? It's a pretty big city.
Oh, I knew you were going to ask me that, and
Is it at the Metro building?
I
or
don't think Eileen is here, so I...
Ferry building?
Oh, Mark is here. The Ferry building. 2:30? No, it begins at 9 a.m., and it goes all day on the 24th, and then half of the day on the 25th.
There we go. Just another meeting. There's no more comments from the chair, I don't think. Martin, are you done? Is everybody done? Man, let's get out of here.
Only because of the weather, not because you weren't.
Exactly, it was because of the weather. Okay. Calendar is for your information. Adjournment to February 20th, 2019 at 6 p.m. Adjourned.